What's up, Wrestling vs. CC family? Welcome back to another explosive episode. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into one of the most emotional moments in recent wrestling history. The icon, the myth, the legend himself, Bill Goldberg, has officially announced his retirement from WWE. And let me tell you, the wrestling world is absolutely shattered. Before we get into this tear-jerking journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because we're about to take you on an emotional roller coaster through the career of one of wrestling's most dominant forces. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why grown men and women around the world are crying their eyes out. It was a Tuesday evening when the wrestling world stood still. Social media exploded, wrestling forums crashed, and fans worldwide felt their hearts sink as the news broke. Bill Goldberg, the man who defined dominance in professional wrestling, was hanging up his boots for good. The announcement came through a heartfelt video message posted on WWE's official channels. There was Goldberg, sitting in what appeared to be his home gym, surrounded by the weights and equipment that had forged his legendary physique. His voice, usually booming with confidence and intensity, carried a weight of emotion that immediately struck every viewer. After 27 years in this business, Goldberg began, his voice slightly trembling. It's time for me to step away from the ring permanently. This isn't just goodbye to WWE. This is goodbye to professional wrestling as an active competitor. The camera captured every emotion crossing his face. The pride, the sadness, the gratitude, and yes, even the tears that he tried so hard to hold back. This wasn't just another wrestler retiring. This was a cultural icon, a man who had transcended sports entertainment to become a household name, announcing the end of an era. To understand why this retirement hit so hard, we need to travel back to September 22nd, 1997. Picture this. World Championship Wrestling is desperately trying to compete with the WWF's Monday Night Raw. They need something fresh, something explosive, something that would make fans change the channel and keep them there. Enter Bill Goldberg, a former NFL defensive tackle who had been quietly training at the WCW power plant. At 6'4" and 285 pounds of pure muscle, Goldberg looked like he had been carved from stone by the wrestling gods themselves. But looks can be deceiving in wrestling. Many bodybuilders had failed to translate their physique into ring success. Goldberg was different. From his very first match against Hugh Morris, something magical happened. The intensity in his eyes, the way he moved with both power and surprising agility, the sheer presence he commanded, it was electric. The crowd didn't just watch Goldberg, they felt him. The victory over Morris was just the beginning. What followed was the most dominant winning streak in modern wrestling history. 173 wins and 0 losses. A record that still stands today and likely never will be broken. But it wasn't just about the numbers. It was about how Goldberg won these matches. The spear, that devastating shoulder tackle that looked like it could break a man in half. The jackhammer, a vertical suplex that seemed to defy physics as Goldberg would hold his opponents suspended in the air before driving them down with thunderous impact. These weren't just wrestling moves. They were weapons of mass destruction. The Goldberg streak wasn't just a booking decision, it was a cultural phenomenon. Every Monday night, millions of fans tuned in not just to see if Goldberg would win, but to witness how he would annihilate his next victim. The man was a wrecking ball in human form, and professional wrestling had never seen anything quite like it. What made the streak so special wasn't just its length, but its believability. In an era where wrestling was becoming increasingly entertainment-focused, Goldberg brought back that raw, primal feeling of legitimate competition. When he stepped through that curtain, you believed he could genuinely hurt someone. When he speared an opponent, you felt the impact through the television screen. The entrance alone became legendary. That slow walk from the back, the focused intensity, the way he would headbutt the locker room door, sending sparks flying. It was pure theater, but it felt real. The crowd would erupt, not just with cheers, but with genuine excitement and anticipation. They knew they were about to witness something special. I remember being a kid during the height of the streak, and let me tell you, Monday nights were appointment television. You didn't dare miss a Goldberg match because you knew you might witness history. Every opponent seemed like they could be the one to end the streak. But deep down, we all knew Goldberg was unstoppable. The streak created stars out of his opponents, too. Getting speared by Goldberg became a badge of honor in wrestling. Wrestlers would later talk about how being destroyed by Goldberg actually elevated their careers because they were part of something bigger than themselves. December 27th, 1998. The MCI Center in Washington, D.C. was electric with anticipation. Goldberg, the undefeated champion, was set to defend his WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Kevin Nash, the leader of the New World Order's Wolfpack faction. The build-up to this match was incredible. Nash had been talking for weeks about how he was going to be the one to end Goldberg's streak. The wrestling world was divided. Could anyone really beat the unstoppable force that was Bill Goldberg? The man had bulldozed through every challenger put in front of him. He had defeated legends, monsters, and technical masters alike. But on this night, something different happened. The match itself was solid. Nash's size and power matched up well against Goldberg's intensity. But then came the moment that would change everything. The infamous finger poke from Scott Hall's taser. When Goldberg collapsed after being shocked by Hall's weapon, the wrestling world gasped. Nash delivered the jackknife powerbomb and made the cover. 1, 2, 3. The streak was over. The crowd sat in stunned silence as the referee raised Nash's hand and announced him as the new champion. But here's what made this moment so powerful. Even in defeat, Goldberg had created something magical. The streak had been so dominant, so convincing, that it took outside interference and a weapon to end it. In wrestling terms, Goldberg had been protected, even in his loss. Looking back now, that night at Starrcade wasn't just the end of a streak, it was the end of an era. WCW would never recapture the magic that Goldberg had brought to the company. The streak had been their biggest draw, their most compelling storyline, and their answer to the WWF's dominance. Fast forward to March 31st, 2003, Raw from the Molson Center in Montreal. The wrestling landscape had changed dramatically. WCW was gone, purchased by Vince McMahon. The Monday Night Wars were over. But on this night, something incredible was about to happen. The Rock was in the ring, cutting one of his trademark promos when suddenly the lights went out. The silence was deafening. Then, those familiar opening notes hit the speakers. The crowd knew immediately what was happening, and the eruption was unlike anything WWE had heard in years. The chant was deafening as Bill Goldberg made his way to the ring for the first time as a WWE superstar. The man who had been WCW's biggest star was now in WWE, and the possibilities seemed endless. The look on The Rock's face said it all. Even he was caught up in the moment. This wasn't just a debut, it was a dream match that fans had been fantasizing about for years. Goldberg versus The Rock, WCW's biggest star, against one of WWE's top performers. The confrontation in the ring was electric, with both men staring each other down as the crowd reached fever pitch. The WWE debut represented something bigger than just a new wrestler joining the roster. It was validation that Goldberg's impact had been real, that his legacy had transcended company lines. Vince McMahon, who had been criticized for not properly utilizing former WCW stars, had pulled out all the stops for Goldberg's arrival. The subsequent feud with The Rock was everything fans had hoped for. These were two of the most charismatic performers in wrestling history, and their chemistry was undeniable. The matches they had were hard-hitting affairs that showcased both men's strengths and created new memorable moments for both their legacies. September 21st, 2003, Unforgiven at the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. Goldberg stepped into the ring to face Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. The stakes couldn't have been higher.
The ideal farewell would involve appearances in different cities, allowing fans across the country to participate. Each appearance would be a celebration of his career, a chance to remember the great moments and create a few new ones. The final match, whenever and wherever it happens, should be a celebration rather than a competition. It should focus on the positive impact he has had on the industry and the memories he has created for millions of fans. As we prepare to say goodbye to one of wrestling's greatest performers, it's worth considering what Goldberg's career means to the industry as a whole. He arrived at a time when wrestling needed something fresh and exciting, and he delivered beyond anyone's expectations. The streak wasn't just a collection of victories, it was a masterclass in character development, storytelling, and audience engagement. Every match built on the previous one, every victory added to the legend, and every moment felt important. His influence extends beyond just his own career. Goldberg changed how wrestling companies think about creating stars, how they approach character development, and how they present their performers. The lessons from his success are still being applied today. The emotional connection he created with fans is perhaps his greatest achievement. Wrestling is ultimately about creating feelings, about making people care, and Goldberg did that better than almost anyone. The tears being shed today are proof of that connection. As we reach the end of this emotional journey, it's important to remember that while Goldberg's active career is over, his legacy will live forever. The matches, the moments, the memories, they're all part of wrestling history now. Future generations will discover Goldberg through video packages and documentary features. They'll see the spear, the jackhammer, and the intensity, and they'll understand why he was special. The magic doesn't diminish with time. If anything, it becomes more precious. The tears being shed today are not just about goodbye. They're about gratitude. Gratitude for the entertainment, for the memories, for the way Goldberg made us feel when we watched him perform. Those feelings are real, and they're permanent. Wrestling is about creating moments that last forever, and Goldberg created more than his share. The streak, the comebacks, the championships, the retirements, they're all part of a story that will be told for generations to come. And so, we come to the end of an era. Bill Goldberg, the man who defined dominance, who showed us what intensity looked like, who proved that sometimes the simplest approach is the most effective, has officially retired from professional wrestling. The tears being shed by fans worldwide are understandable and appropriate. We're not just saying goodbye to a wrestler, we're saying goodbye to a piece of our childhoods, to a performer who made us believe in magic, to a man who gave everything he had to entertain us. Let's celebrate the career of a true legend. Let's remember the magic he created, and let's honor the impact he had on all of our lives. Don't forget to subscribe to Wrestling vs. CC for more emotional wrestling content. Hit that notification bell, and remember, legends never die. They just pass the torch to the next generation. Until next time, keep wrestling, keep believing, and keep remembering the magic that was Bill Goldberg.